So, Matt Reeves might have given us a huge clue to the villain of The Batman Part 2. I think it could be Deathstroke. I'm going to explain why I think it's him, what the potential drawbacks of it being Deathstroke could be, and what other ways they could approach the villain in The Batman Part 2. As always, I'm Phil from DC Chronicle. We do all things DC on this channel. I'd love it if you would hit like and hit subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Never really been done before. Why did I put that in the thumbnail? So this is a reference to an interview that Matt Reeves did with Josh Horowitz of MTV when they were promoting the Emmy-winning Penguin show. They were talking about the Batman Part 2 and the villain. They had a bit of a conversation and Matt Reeves ended by saying, "I will tell you this is someone that's never really been done before."
That was what drove that sort of discussion, and I won't tell you where we ended up, but we're super excited about it. And I will say, it's never really been done in a movie before, so We're excited, yeah.
Perhaps I'm clutching at straws here, but never really been done before. Never really. Why is that really in there? Why didn't he just say it's a villain that's never been done before? For me, it could be because we're talking about a villain that has been in a movie before, but has never had a big role or directly challenged Batman. And so, wrap my brain a bit, who could that be? And really, there's only one possibility, which leads me to think the villain for the Batman Part 2 could be Deathstroke. The reason I say that, of course, Deathstroke was in Justice League, both the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut. He was in the post-credit scene of the Whedon cut, really a nothing burger in the theatrical release. He had a bit more to do in the Snyder cut. He was clearly going to go after Batman, being told by Lex Luthor that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And then we saw him in the Nightmare scene teaming up with Batman, Cyborg, Flash, Joker, and Mira going after Superman. So for me, he fits the criteria. He's been done before in movies, but only a very small role and never gone up against Batman directly. So he'd fit the criteria definitely of someone who's never really been done before. And really, I think he's the only option. I did think for a second maybe Victor Zsasz, he cameoed in Batman Begins, but that's such a small cameo from so long ago. I don't think that comment really works for Victor Zsasz. So yeah, potentially we could get Deathstroke in the Batman Part 2. Do I think it's a good idea for Deathstroke to be the villain in Batman Part 2? And the answer's no, not really. I don't think he's a good fit for this universe. Plus, the thing with Deathstroke, right? Yeah, he's not been in films, really. He's had that one little thing with Joe Manganiello, but he's been used a lot in other media, TV shows, video games, animation. So I feel like we've seen Deathstroke quite a lot, and we've seen some good portrayals of the character. Joe Manganiello was really good. I thought Manu Bennett on the Arrowverse was really good. He was great in Arkham Origins. Bit of a letdown in Arkham Knight and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but that is what it is. So I think we've had quite a bit of Deathstroke, and I don't see the benefit of throwing him in the Batman Part 2. Plus as well, there's rumors of a Bane and Deathstroke team-up movie in the DCU. This I'm less concerned about. That's a few years away, definitely. So it probably would be okay to use him in the Batman if you were gonna, and then the DCU in this movie, which I imagine it won't just be a Bane Deathstroke team-up movie. It'll be like the Sinister Six, or it'll be like a Legion of Doom with Lex Luthor, or maybe even ties into the Salvation storyline that's currently going on. We saw at the end of Peacemaker, Salvation has come into play now. So I don't see any problems from that perspective. I don't think he's a good fit for this Batman, for the Robert Pattinson Batman. This Batman hasn't really proved himself in hand-to-hand combat. He's still depicted as a very young Batman. We've seen him beat up some thugs. We've seen him beat up some of the Penguin's henchmen. Deathstroke is a master at hand-to-hand combat. You know, in comics, he's portrayed as being better than Batman at hand-to-hand combat. At this point in this Batman's career, Deathstroke would absolutely wipe the floor with Batman. And unless that's kind of what you're going for, you're going to tell a story with Batman getting his ass handed to him by Deathstroke and then creating a conflict from there and growth for Batman through that. I don't really see him being a good adversary for this Batman. Plus, I wouldn't mind Deathstroke moving away from Batman. I know there's a Teen Titans project in the works with the DCU. Granted, that's again likely a fair few years away if that ends up going into production. I'd rather see him there. I'd rather see Deathstroke go up against the Teen Titans. Batman has so many great rogues. You can easily swap Deathstroke with somebody else and use him with the Titans as he's been known to do in the comics, something that's a bit truer to his origin. Use him in Teen Titans as a named villain that would get eyes on that project, and you can swap Deathstroke out with somebody else. There are plenty of other Batman villains who I think would fit this universe better and stand across from Robert Pattinson a lot better. I still think Mr. Freeze would be the best choice for the villain in the Batman Part 2. We can make him tech-based and more realistic that way. He needs a good live-action adaptation. I've spoken about the adaptations for Deathstroke. Manu Bennett was really cool. So in Mr. Freeze, we've had Arnold, which obviously was a long time ago and it wasn't the same tone. He really could use an update, and then I was a bit disappointed with how he was portrayed on the Gotham series as well. So you could completely reinvent the character, have him be a great fit for these movies, and totally update Mr. Freeze in live action. Make him a bit more sympathetic as well. One thing I like about Mr. Freeze is he doesn't have any direct beef with Batman. Batman is just getting in the way of his goal, which is to help his wife. And I kind of like that when a villain isn't just beefing with Batman just because they're trying to do something, Batman gets in the way, and I like the conflict that arises from that. Likewise, I also think Hugo Strange would be a great fit if we're going to explore this Batman's psyche. We can do it through Hugo Strange. The first film did explore Batman's psyche to some extent, and we also went into Arkham a little bit with the Riddler and the Joker. We can continue that here. I loved how well Hugo Strange was used in Arkham City. We can use that as a bit of an inspiration, bit of a jumping off point. Bringing that to life, I think, would be really, really cool. So I'd love to see Hugo Strange as one of the villains in the Batman Part 2. Now, the strongly rumoured ones are, of course, Hush and the Court of Owls. I don't like the idea of Hush, to be honest with you. I know it was teased in the movie itself. I feel like Hush, Thomas Elliot, would be too similar to how the Riddler was done in the first movie. So someone with a childhood connection to Bruce, and then showing the other side of what can happen to you in Gotham City, and what happened to someone who didn't have Bruce's money and Bruce's background. We saw that person grow up to become the Riddler in the first movie. So seeing Tommy Elliot do that same thing and then grow up to become Hush, I feel like you'd be retreading a lot of the same ground with that. Court of Owls, I think, would be cool. I can see this Batman going up against the Talons. I think that would be a good hand-to-hand fight. The difference between the Talons and Deathstroke, the Talons would be shown as kind of feral and unintelligent fighters. So this Batman could take a beating and then still readily beat them. A bit different to how I said I don't think he'd fit hand-to-hand combat with Deathstroke. Do worry about the Court of Owls reveal as this secret society pulling the strings of Gotham behind the scenes. How would that land, and why would we care about this secret society? Unless, again, you include Bruce's parents. Were they a part of the court? But again, we're retreading old ground from the first one of his parents not really being what he thought they were and being involved in stuff that Bruce only uncovers as an adult. Or if they can do something else to add some different stakes to the Court of Owls, like maybe they come out into the light and everyone knows who they are following the flooding of Gotham. Maybe they take charge of rebuilding it, perhaps. There's a couple of ways you could do it. I like the idea of the Talons and the court in general, but I think there needs to be more stakes to the reveal of who the court are and their history and their background for it to really land with audiences. And then Joker. We got a Joker cameo in the first one. You can check out my video about how I think we just need a break from the Joker in general. I've nothing against this version. The little that we saw, I think Barry Keoghan would be good. I didn't particularly care for the design, but then we didn't really see his character design fully. If he broke out and was full Joker, I'm sure he'd look very different. But other rogues need more time to shine. And for me personally, I'm not that interested in more Joker at the moment. We need a bit of a break. We need to miss the character a bit, and then we can bring him back. Like I said in that video, have him as a bit of like an overarching threat who could be a jack-in-the-box that pops out anytime, but we don't actually see him on screen that much. So let me know what you guys think. Could Deathstroke be in the Batman Part 2? Would you like to see him turn up, or would you like somebody else, and who would you like to see? And of course, you can check out some more videos right now.